16th place Spurs host Nottingham Forest at 8 p.m, hoping to avoid an 18th Premier League defeat of the season. Jesus, how the mighty have fallen. A win would see Forest climb back into third position, but what does Nuno, once Spurs manager of course, think of his current side's chances?
We embrace the challenge. It's not stepping back, we're stepping in. We want to embrace it, we want to try and get it. It's going to be very hard, but believe me, we are stepping in and putting everything that we have in this final moment of the season.
One man who knows all about playing at the highest level in Europe is two-time European Cup winner with Forest, Mr. Garry Birtles. I'm delighted to say Gary is here with us. How you doing, mate?
Good morning, Gary.
Yeah, not bad, thanks. Yourself?
Yeah, we're living a dream. You look a million as always, sir.
What, the dodgy shirt again?
Yeah. What would it mean for Spurs, for Forest getting back into top flight European football, not only for the city, but I was there a few weeks ago against Liverpool under the lights in midweek. The fan base was excellent. I have to admit, it was a wonderful, proper football experience. How would that feel for the city getting back into European top table?
Oh, it'd be unbelievable. I mean, the atmosphere in there is second to none. You ask anybody if they come to the City ground, it's just electric there. And people say, was it like that when we were in the European Cup? And we said, no. You know, what we're seeing now from the fans is just unbelievable. And after last season, the struggles down at the bottom of the table, to see them vying for a place in Europe, it's just staggering. It's like, you know, waking up from a dream. Nuno's done a magnificent job. Everybody at the club has. Everybody's in the right positions. The owner's been brilliant. Everything's just gelled together, and it's still in their hands to, get back in third place. And that's what you want as a player, as a manager. You want it in your hands. You don't want to be looking at everybody else's results.
I think as well, Gary, Aina, left back, right back, either position you can play, and he's been a big miss, hasn't he? And also, how important is it to get Elanga back on the starting team, because he's been so positive this season with the goals he's scoring, assists, and just that threat he'll offer tonight against that Spurs backline.
Well, you saw the goal he scored against Manchester United. That just shows you, the strength he has, the pace he has. And you know yourself, what defenders hate more than anything is pace.
Yeah.
But you mentioned Aina. I think he's been a big miss. We talked about Chris Wood being out with all the goals he scored, but Aina has been absolutely magnificent defensively. And when he gets forward, he's been given the wherewithal just to go and create. And he can do that. And you miss players like that, and you realise how important they are to your team when they're not in there. But the depth of the squad's not too bad. You've got Hudson-Odoi, who's been out for a game or two. But it looks like everybody's fit, hopefully. Aina will be the interesting one, whether they take a chance on him. But whoever comes in has got an opportunity to win tonight at Tottenham. Their focus might be on Europe a little bit, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting one tonight, a nervous one. That is a certainty.
Yeah, Gabby, just on nerves playing a part. Nuno obviously going back to Spurs, where it clearly didn't work out well for him. Is there a bit of an added emotional pressure on the team, because Nuno obviously will want to show that they were wrong to get rid of him? I think they've done that in the league, but you know what it's like when you go back. You just want to stick, a couple of fingers up to the crowd, don't you, essentially?
Well, I can remember, when I came back to Forest from Man United, and then when we played them again, you were desperate, to do well against them. You're always desperate to do that. And Nuno will want that. It'll be in his back of his mind, but he'll tell his players, forget all that. Not about him, not about Tottenham. It's about winning that football match this evening, going back into third place. And then you've got the home games. I think Leicester, Brentford, got Palace away and Chelsea at home. So, it's still really in Forest hands, what happens this season. And obviously everybody's going to have to play each other as well. I don't think anybody saw the Villa thrashing of Newcastle coming. No. You thought that was going to be a close game. Could have been a draw. That would have suited people. But anything can happen in football. Nerves do play a part, believe me, at the highest level. When you can see that finishing line there and you want to get over it, it becomes even more difficult.
We look at the remaining fixtures for Forest: Spurs away, Brentford at home, Palace away, Leicester at home, West Ham away and Chelsea at home. If they play how they played most of the season, you can win every single one of them games, can't they? The players that you've got, everyone fit and available. The hard work that Forest have put into this season, even Europa League will be a disappointment to some of these players and fans?
I think without a doubt, you're spot on. You look at the fixtures on paper, but you know all about paper fixtures. You know, anything can happen. Everybody expected Forest probably to beat Everton, but under David Moyes, Everton have been, very, very difficult to beat. Man City found it difficult the other day, scored late on. So when the pressure's on, it becomes a little bit more difficult. But they've got players there. Milenkovic at the back, who's he's full of confidence. He's a leader, and you need not one leader, you need 11 leaders out there. The back line's been very good. Murillo and Milenkovic have been so good. Sells in goal has been fantastic for them. The midfield has been so creative. Anderson coming from Newcastle, Gibbs White's been sensational. And, Hudson-Odoi and Alanga, when you give them the ball, you can hear the anticipation in the crowd because they know they're capable of causing absolute havoc for any opposition.
Yeah, Gary, I just wanted to ask a little bit off subject, but it is to do with Forest. We're looking at a lot of teams coming up now and struggling for the Championship going into the Prem. I see a lot of the players who came up with Forest. I'm looking more towards Ryan Yates, those type of players who are the heartbeat of the club. What do you think that the teams coming up, the potential of Leeds, Burnley, let's say Sheffield United, let's say those three come up, what can they take from what Forest have done to keep themselves in the Premier League?
I think you have to look and learn. You have to look at the teams who've come up, Fulham and Bournemouth and Brentford, the teams like that. They've done fantastically well to stay in the Premier League, with smaller budgets. And it's not a bad thing to look at somebody else, how they do it. You put your own mark on it, but think, well, they did it that way. That might be, something we've got to look at. We can build a team around how they did it and do the similar sort of things. But the Premier League is the hardest league in world football. Everybody knows that. It's relentless, with the FA Cup, the Carabao. It's just relentless how many games are played very quickly. You've heard again this season players complaining about, the number of games they have to play in a short space of time. It's always been like that, but it is difficult. And, the nature of the Premier League, it's fast, it's frenetic. And it's very difficult. And if you're not up to scratching it, you're going to struggle. And you've seen some of the teams come up and just do it their way, but their way doesn't work, and they've gone down. It's all right saying we're going to do it our way, we'll play out from the back. If you haven't got the players to play out from the back and do it like that and keep losing games, you're going to get relegated. You look at, Southampton started the season like that. I did a game at Brentford, and they tried to play out from the back, and they conceded 3 goals, by doing it, put out the mistakes. Burnley did it last season? Yeah. And if they come back up, you've got to learn from those, mistakes you made and do it a different way, because you just keep going down. And, it's all about learning lessons.
Gary, I think as well, if you're Nuno Santo before the game, you're saying, listen, these lot have got their eyes on the semi-final of Europa League. Get in and around them, get amongst them. Do you know what I mean? They're not going to want to get injured. They're not going to be going for maybe them 50-50 tackles that you might get a little injury. It's there, isn't it, tonight for Forest to go and get the win?
You've got to put that semi-final out of the mind. It is that, one game at a time. You have to do that.
No, I mean Spurs' semi-final Europa League. It's going to be on their mind.
Yeah, Forest semi-final against City at the weekend. It's a fantastic season, being in that position. Semi-final at Wembley, possibly third in the table tonight after the game. But it's Gabby, it's one game at a time. Yes. Your manager always told you that. Forget about anything else. It's about this. And that's what Forest have got to focus on tonight. Tottenham, to be fair, have got players back, key players who, they've had horrendous injury problems at the back this season. And that you're going to struggle when you lose, key players. And, you've got to admire the way they bounce back in Europe. And like you say, that's going to be on their minds. And possibly they might rest a few tonight. It'd be interesting to see their team selection.
Yeah, Gary, thank you very much, mate. Hope you guys go well. Have a lovely, enjoyable bank holiday, buddy.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.